about you, but I am fired up and ready to go.
Yes.
Just a few hours ago, I was able, when I finally got back to my hotel, to say thank you to President Bill Clinton for what I believe were some of the most profound remarks I've heard over the last 3.5 years. When we elected President Barack Obama and Vice President Biden some 4 years ago, we knew that they were up against a tidal wave of challenges that they had to respond to almost immediately. But you know, one of the things that have struck me over the last 3.5 years is just the what I call the Republican Party, decision not to reach across the aisle and help President Obama and Vice President Biden tackle these problems that we face as Americans. This week, the American people heard from us. They heard from us. They heard from us in terms of our deliberations. They heard from our speakers. And let me say, ladies and gentlemen, the First Lady of the United States gave what I call a phenomenal address to the country.
Yes, she did.
She told us what President Obama believes in. She talked to us, talked to the country about him as a husband and a father. And I think she made the case to the American people. She made a personal case of why President Obama is up to the challenges that we all know must be tackled over the next 4 years. But after hearing from Mayor Julian Castro, you know, my first keynote speech that really wowed me as a young girl down in Louisiana was the speech by Barbara Jordan back in 1976. Some of y'all probably were not alive then. But you know, Barbara Jordan, A.M. Richards, and now Julian Castro. I am so proud of that young man, and I know he has a future now in our party, but I think the American people will one day reach out to him to do bigger things, and I'm looking forward to that as well. But again, Mayor Castro gave what I call a compelling case of why we as Democrats fight for the things that we care about: the middle class, education, the environment, healthcare. You know, I'm on TV every night because that's what I actually do when I'm not talking to my friends. I'm teaching my class at Georgetown. But every night during the Republican Party convention, we basically sat there and said, you know, what was that speech about? I mean, it was funny because we're like, what did they talk about? I mean, it really was a convention from an alternative universe. And it really was, ladies and gentlemen, especially when one of my colleagues on CNN had to endure, you know, some personal insults from some of the participants when they threw peanuts at her and said, this is what we feed animals back at home. It really was a hostile convention. The tone was one of anger, demeaning, demoralizing. There was no joy. And I said, you know, the one thing about hanging out with conservatives for a week is that they have no joy. And when they have no joy, they're simply not fun to be with. But luckily I had fun, although it was a challenging week. But last night reminded me again of why I do what I do, why I'm a Democrat, why it's important that we stand up and fight for freedom and justice and equality for all people.
Yes.
President Clinton last night talked about civility. He talked about cooperation. He talked about the things he was able to accomplish because he had a party on the other side, though they opposed him. God knows they really did oppose Bill Clinton too. I mean, remember we had to endure that impeachment stuff, and I mean they just investigated and still couldn't find anything they would investigate. But then, you know, he put that aside. He kept going to work every day to try to get them to work with us. But you know what I love best about this president and this administration is that Barack Obama is a decent person. He's an honest person. He has integrity. I mean, he has stabilized the economy. I looked at the headlines from 4 years ago just because I'm on TV and I have to do my research, and I'm like, you know, we thought the world was about to come to a close. I mean, the financial markets were collapsing, the foreclosure crisis, the war, not just in Iraq, but also in Afghanistan. And President Obama has moved, he has moved mountains to try to tackle all of these great crises. So what should he do tonight? First of all, I think President Obama should ask the American people to rehire him. To rehire him to finish the job that they gave him 4 years ago. I think he should say, you know, we've accomplished this much, and with your help, with your support, if you partner with me, this is what we can accomplish over the next 4 years.
Yes.
That is what this job is about. Now, after all of the speech, fine. You've had a lot of good speeches. I'm not gonna lie. I felt like last night was church.
Amen.
Church. Shell hit it out the ballpark. That was a grand slam. And tonight, I know President Obama is going to deliver for the American people. But there's no question that when we depart here tomorrow or over the weekend, pick up the rest of our souvenirs, our trinkets, or whatever you like to call those wonderful shiny objects I see when I'm sitting on TV looking back, and I said, you know what? We don't suffer from any, you know, we're happy, we're joyful. We're not suffering from this, you know, demoralization. You know, they thought we were demoralized, and they think that we're not enthusiastic. And I said, anybody who believes that we're not enthusiastic, you should be in this hall tonight, because the Democratic Party, they're on their feet. Michelle Obama got you on your feet. If you don't have y'all singing and singing. So thank you, Colorado. I look forward to stopping by in your great state once again. Thank you for all your leadership. And I just want to say on a personal note, my heart wept for you all during that tragedy in Aurora. My heart wept for you all. But I know the Bible is so correct. Scripture said, weeping may endure for a night, but joy cometh in the morning. I look forward to seeing you all on that beautiful day in January of 2013. We inaugurate